Hi, welcome back to Cooking with Johnny G and Clara. Today we're going to make cinnamon swirl bread made with sourdough. So first we're going to start with all-purpose flour, 361 grams. And then we're going to use 113 grams of sourdough starter, and this is, you could use discard or newly fed. This is newly fed, very active. 113 grams. I'm going to use 2.5 teaspoons of yeast, dry active yeast. You want to put the yeast the opposite side is the salt, so you don't kill it. We're going to use 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt. Again, opposite side as the yeast. One whole egg, 71 grams of butter, 3/4 cup of lukewarm water, and that's it. Then we're going to put it on the KitchenAid stand mixer with a dough hook. Okay, we ran the dough in the mixer for about 7 or 8 minutes. You get a real sticky dough. So lightly flour your board. Bring the dough out on to the board, and we'll knead it by hand just a little bit. Just want to knead until you get a nice smooth dough ball. Only use enough flour to make that happen. And it sticks to the bench a little bit. You can also use a bench scraper. Just a little bit of flour. Just like that. Then we're going to put that in a greased bowl. Cover it with plastic. Let that sit for about 1.5 to 2 hours. It'll double in size at least. Okay, we've allowed our dough to rise for about 1.5 hours. It's doubled in size, maybe a little bit better. While that was rising, I cracked an egg and whipped it with a little bit of water. It's about 1/2 tablespoon of water, 1 egg. And this is the filling, which is 50 grams of sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, and 2 teaspoons of all-purpose flour. And we're going to sprinkle that on the inside of the bread. Lightly flour your bench. Dough out. Lightly flour the dough. And we're going to bake this in a 5 by 10 inch bread pan. You want to grease that and have it at the ready. So we want to shape this into about an 8-inch wide log that will go into the pan. We're going to knock the air out. Then we're going to just paint it with our egg mixture. It's nice and whipped. It's going to give the sugar, cinnamon sugar mixture something to stick to, and as the bread bakes, it should hold together more instead of gapping where you have the sugar. And evenly distribute this on the loaf. And then you're going to roll this towards you. And you just kind of, it's a very soft dough, so you just kind of, a little stretch and roll. Stretch and roll. Try to keep it about 8 inches wide. And when you get to the end here, you want to kind of pinch that seam. And then we're going to put it seam side down. Just get it even in your pan. We're going to let that rise for about an hour. Again, it'll at least double in size. We're going to place the loaf inside a bag to let it rise. You could do this in a proofing box. You could do it in your oven if you have a proofing setting. About halfway through the proofing process, you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, we've allowed the bread to, or the dough to rise for an hour in the pan, basically doubling in size. Preheated the oven to 350 degrees about halfway through. And we're going to bake it for a total of 40 minutes, 40 to 45, but about halfway through, we're going to tent it with foil so we don't over brown it on top. We're looking for an internal temperature of 190. Like I said, we want to tent the loaf after about 20 minutes, halfway through, and then set the timer for another 20 minutes. Okay, one internal temperature of 190 to 200. Just gently make sure it's loosened from the sides. I'm going to turn the bread out onto the rack. Should sound hollow. And then let it cool completely before slicing. It's hard though, because it smells really, really good. Okay, the bread's fully cooled. We're gonna slice into it, take a look at it. There we go, this is cinnamon swirl bread. Soft. Delish. So give it a try. Cinnamon swirl bread. Try toasted in the morning, a little bit of butter. Very good. Till next time, we'll see you.